After Disney shill John Rocha was laughed off the internet, his fellow shill Jason Ward has a new NPC update in order to shield Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, who is supposedly going to be the director of the upcoming new Jedi Order film starring Daisy Ridley as Rey. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. So before we get into what Jason Ward had to say, let's remind you of what John Rocha had to say here. He is the host of the Hot Mic podcast, and this is what he had to say during one of those episodes, blaming, or at least maybe not blaming, but attacking Star Wars fans for criticizing Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy and what she had to say about Star Wars. Mainly, she wants to insert all of her activism into the movie, and that it's finally about time that a woman led the franchise, despite Kathleen Kennedy being the president of Lucasfilm since 2012, leading the Disney Star Wars vision of Star Wars for over a decade and completely cratering the entire IP and franchise. But let's listen to what John Rocha had to say here.
I swear to God, men, reach down into your pants, find your fucking balls and your cock, and be okay with it. We can take a woman directing a film in Star Wars and live. We're all gonna fucking survive. I swear to God, you guys want to come off like you're tough motherfuckers, and you're a bunch of wusses. Finally.
So this guy is completely off his rockers, obviously lying straight from the get-go, saying that the criticism that she's receiving is simply because she's a woman. No, it's because of what she said, and it's obviously because we've had an indoctrination campaign instituted by Lucasfilm for the better part of a decade, putting feminism into Star Wars and trying to indoctrinate viewers into a feminist viewpoint, which is absolutely repugnant and downright evil. And that is the criticism that people have levied at Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, obviously basing it off of what Lucasfilm has done in the past, and then having Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy make these very generalized feminist comments, and that is what people are criticizing. That has nothing to do with the fact that she is a woman. So this guy is a complete and utter liar, and the fact that he's trying to appeal to some kind of sense of masculinity by lying to people shows how utterly ridiculous and absurd he really is as a human being. He rightfully got mocked off the internet because honestly his entire comments are just a complete and utter joke. No one should be taking this guy seriously, especially when he's so obviously just lying to people. A complete and utter joke. But since Rocha got laughed off the internet, we do have a new NPC upload. This is coming from Jason Ward, who is also a Disney shill. He also has a number of scoops that he gets from Lucasfilm, clearly is attached to Lucasfilm, and he's always trying to spin it in the most positive way for Lucasfilm and Disney Star Wars, even though most of the stuff that he does indeed leak is absolutely atrocious. And when you see it come to life in whether it's Obi-Wan Kenobi or Ahsoka, it is just absolutely terrible. So he does get a lot of stuff right when it comes to leaks and stuff, but he is clearly a Disney shill. And his latest upload is the latest NPC upload is how it looks like Disney PR is now going to be trying to defend Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. And he says, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy spent years making documentaries about women having their faces burned with acid, honor killings, and the struggle for women to get a basic education. So her activism is bad and a threat to Star Wars. Don't we all agree burning faces is bad? Basic education is good. So this is the new NPC upload after John Rocha's "How dare you attack a woman" absolutely and utterly failed. Now it's "How dare you attack a woman who actually has done good activism by exposing criminals." Well, sure, I think indeed that should be lauded, but I don't think that excuses the fact that Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm have pushed a massive feminist messaging, massive feminist campaign throughout Star Wars since she has been in charge since 2012. And Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is echoing many of those talking points that we've seen from other people within Lucasfilm pushing the same message. And that is where the real criticism is coming from, is the fact that she is indeed echoing those feminist talking points that we've seen from people like Kathleen Kennedy using to promote Star Wars. The whole "the Force is female" idea, right? That is exactly what Kathleen Kennedy is trying to do with Star Wars, and that is why people are criticizing Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, because she said it's about time that a woman finally leads Star Wars. It's like, well, they've been leading Star Wars for more than a decade now. Where have you been? And that is what she's being criticized for. And she's also being criticized, obviously, for that she's going to be inserting her activism, that she wants to make men uncomfortable, etc., etc. A lot of these generalized comments that she has indeed made, and I think can obviously be applied to this hate of men that feminism does indeed promote. So we also have this post here as well. He kind of like completely undermines all of his defense to the NPC upload. They can't help themselves by completely undermining themselves immediately after they post something. This user here, Ghost of Cade, says, question, how does making documentaries about women being mistreated in the real world qualify her to make a film set in a fictional world and one that exists as part of a giant entertainment franchise? Well, Jason Ward says Star Wars was shot like a documentary. Obaid-Chinoy has made some of the best looking documentaries with the best shots capturing moments as they happen and great shots when they're expositional in nature. Star Wars was not shot like a documentary. You can watch any of the documentaries talking about how the original Star Wars film was shot and it was not shot like a documentary. That is just utterly ridiculous and absurd on its face, similar to John Rocha's comments. And this guy lying just like John Rocha. It's kind of interesting that the defense of Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy always has to include people lying. Makes one think exactly what is going on here. And it makes me think that they're definitely being influenced by the Walt Disney Company, either being paid to say these things or at least being offered some kind of quid pro quo or something like that. But this is the latest NPC upload for the Disney Shills, and it's utterly laughable. It's this, and it's just a joke. I mean, these people are pathetic, and their defense of Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's comments is just terrible because they just expose themselves as liars. But let me know what you guys think about this. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.